Welcome to Alley 55 Customs. Today we're going to do a very basic but very vital thing to your engine. And that is, I'm going to show you how easy it is to change your engine oil. Now, it is common knowledge that at some point the engine oil has to be changed. Regularly changing your car's engine oil and filters are one of the most important things that you can do to keep your car running efficiently. So over a period of time, your oil will go bad or break down. Your filter can become blocked with contaminants. So, and also too, this can depend on a number of factors such as how much you drive, your style of driving, the type of vehicle you have. So it is, I can't reiterate how crucial it is to get your engine oil changed. Okay, to get underway and the tools that you need to do, let me go over a few things with you really quick. One thing is you need a oil filter wrench. They come in different sizes and shapes. This one's straight. This one here actually will bend. All you need is one. It'll bend. So there's different variations. Then there's things like this here, which these are the end cap filter wrench set. These are really nice if you have a tight spot that you need to get into. I'll show you how to use these. And then what you're going to also need is a jack stand. Now, I mean, you can use the one that is out of your car. You have one that's like a scissor lift. Go ahead and use that. That's fine too. I like to put jack stands underneath there that actually hold the vehicle in place so it doesn't move on you. I like to use something a little more stable too. The floor jack, like this one, it's 2.5 tons. It'll hold your vehicle up in the air, and it's a little bit more secure than the one that you take out of your car. You need an oil drain pan to catch all your oil. If not, you're gonna have a huge mess. And then you're gonna need a socket that fits the oil drain plug. Now, sometimes on the very bottom of the motor, you'll have, it's kind of hard to see, but I'll show you, this one has it. So once we jack it up, I'll show you, but they'll have like a pan that runs across the bottom. And then you'll need like a flathead screwdriver, sometimes a socket, just to drop that off. Really easy to do. But I'm trying to empower you to do your own oil change because it's easy. You know what is going into your motor. You're not relying on somebody else's opinion. So do it yourself. Okay, so the other thing too, you need you'll also need a socket to take your oil drain plug out, and then a funnel to put your new oil back into the engine. Now, talking about oil, if you look at different products, now if you go down to your local auto parts store, you're gonna see just an array of different oils. You'll have Mobil 1, Royal Purple, Lucas, Pennzoil, Driver, Shell Rotella, Valvoline. And so you have a bunch of different ones to choose from. Not all oils are made the same way, but and that's why I choose the AMSOIL product. And AMSOIL is a very high quality oil. It's very durable. Love the product. Used it for years. Absolutely blown away from the performance that you get with this style engine oil right here. It is just unbelievable. The other thing too, I mean, they make brake fluids, brake cleaners, all that stuff. So, and the other thing too, if you go in an auto parts store, they'll help you figure out what viscosity that you need. So like here, this is your SAE 5-weight 30. And what that means is this is the measure of an oil's ability to flow at a certain temperature. That's what this is. And if you look at the top of your engine, if you look at the top of the engine, this is your, this is where you put your oil in. So this is your oil cap. And it's SAE 5-weight 20. this is what the manufacturer recommends to go back into your engine after you do your oil change. So if you look here, now if you don't have this and it doesn't say anything, go to your local auto parts store and then just tell them the year, make, model of your vehicle. If you have the engine size, give it that to them also. And then they will tell you what oil comes from the factory and what you need to put back into your engine. And also too, the auto parts store will also will tell you how many quarts of oil that you're going to need to put back into the motor. Make sure that you go with their recommendation on how many quarts of oil that you need to put back into your engine. Now, to break this down just a little, I'm not going to go in depth on this. I'll do this in another video. But basically, right here on your SAE 5 weight 20, whatever, 10 weight 30, the first number, the 5 weight, the 10 weight, whatever, is the viscosity grade under low temperature conditions. And then the 20, or here's the 30, that indicates the viscosity grade under high temperature conditions. So, it depends on your weather. It sounds complicated, but it really isn't. So weather would have a factor, if you're in colder climates or hotter climates, you have different grades of oil that you can use at 1030, 1040, 5 weight 30, 520. So your local auto parts store will help you out there. All right, so here is the oil filter that you're going to be taking off of your vehicle. And there again, your local auto parts store will have this in stock. It's there's so many different, like this one's the Wix filters. That's a really good product. There's all sorts of different kind of filters. If you go down and look on the shelf, you'll see just a ton of different manufacturers that make the products. I like the Mobile One also. Amsoil is my favorite. Mobile One is also another one that really tops the charts with me. Lucas is another one that's right up there that really makes a fantastic product. All right, so now I start jacking up the car, and I also want to show you too. So some of the vehicles, the newer cars now actually have this on the bottom. It's just a piece of plastic that is really easy to take off. You have a bolt here, like a bolt here and bolt on the other side, and then this drops down. It's pretty easy. All cars are a little bit different. Sometimes they'll have them in the back too, but you do need to drop this down to get to the oil drain plug and also the oil filter. Okay, so here is the splash guard that I was telling you about that hides your motor. It's just a piece of plastic, there's nothing to it, super lightweight. There's 6 bolts on this particular one. So there's 6 different bolts and then 3 across the top that hold it up in place. Unscrew them, drop it off, and you have full access to your motor. Now, when you go underneath here, the best way to drain your oil is to have the engine somewhat warm. Don't get it too hot because then you'll burn the tar out of your hands. But what it does is it breaks the engine oil down a little bit more, and it will drain out a lot better. All right, so first we got to find the oil drain plug. And so on the bottom side of your motor, now there's 2 types of motors that you're going to get. This is what they call a transverse motor. Now, the transverse motor basically sits horizontal in your car. So it goes across, so you have your transmission sitting over here inside your engine bay, and then you have your engine. So you want to basically find the section where your engine is and drop straight down below, and somewhere on this area there's going to be a bolt, the drain plug, which is going to be on the back or on the bottom. Different cars make it in different locations. Do not drain, I've seen people do this, where they go in, they drain their transmission fluid. If it's red, you just drain your transmission fluid. But that's why I'm showing you this and how easy it is to do it. So this hopefully will help you, designate the engine oil. So here we go. All right, so what we're going to do is, so here's the bottom of the motor. This is your oil pan right here. This whole thing is your oil pan. And, it's connected to the bottom of your engine with your engine bolts here. But what you're gonna do is you're looking for an oil drain plug, and it is right there. So if I can get to it a little bit better, hopefully we can see it. Okay, so on that side right there, that is your oil drain plug. Now what you're gonna do is just get on it, and then you're gonna sit there and you're gonna break it free. And one of the most critical things is, do not over tighten this. I've seen too many people strip it. So just get it good and snug and then give it a little bit of an extra turn. The manufacturers, like Ford, Chevy, whatever, they have a torque specification that you can find online to what you need to torque this. And it's usually pretty light torquing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this oil pan bolt out, which is your drain plug, and then we're going to start draining your oil. All right, so here we go. We're draining out the oil right now, and see how black that oil is? I mean, that is well past due. Your oil should be a lot lighter in color. And here is your drain plug that I talked about, and there's a seal right here, or you'll have a crush washer, and we'll let this drain and I'll get right back to you. Okay, so now that all your oil is drained, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and put back your oil drain plug. And before you do that, clean it up and clean up the mating surface that you're going to put this back up to. Keep it clean. I'm a firm believer in cleaning the product that you put back on. The mating surface that you're going to butt it up to, clean that really well. Then it seats better. It doesn't have a potential leak or anything. But see here, there's a seal that runs around the top of the bolt, and you just want to inspect that. You can get these pretty much anywhere, auto parts store and stuff. And anyways, let's go ahead and clean up the oil pan itself, and then we'll go ahead and insert the oil drain plug. Okay, so when you install your oil drain plug, screw it in by hand until it's flush, and then give it like another a quarter turn. Get it good and snug, tight, but do not just put massive pressure on it, because you will strip that out. Again, if you can find the torque specifications for that particular engine that you're working on, it's just, torque specs for your engine bolt from the manufacturer. But all I do is just screw it up till it's finger tight, and then give it a good turn to get it nice and good and tight. And then anyways, I want to show you, like, this oil is really black. Your oil should not be that black. So guaranteed that the person needed to have an oil change probably months ago. So, but now we'll go ahead and move on to taking out the oil filter. So what you're going to do is you're just going to find the oil filter, which I looked already, and it's in the very front of the motor. Most of the time it's on the bottom of the engines, but some of the other manufacturers, I've seen them where they're on the top of the motor, and then they actually have a filter that is an insert, and then you screw on a plastic top, and stuff. And actually I'll show you that in another video. I have a vehicle that has that same identical filter system, so I'll show you that later. But here we go. And so what we're going to do is get up underneath here. If you look, there is, excuse me, the oil filter. And again, it's a Motorcraft, so it's a Ford product. And what I'm going to do is put the oil drain pan right below it, so it'll catch all the oil. There will be oil sitting inside of the filter. All right, so now we're moving on to taking out your oil filter. Now I'm going to show you on the outside of the vehicle the new product, because taking it off, laying on the ground and all this stuff is a little bit more difficult. So anyway, so here's the new filter. And they make these ridges right here. It's a little bit more of a reinforced area to grab. The other thing too is if you have this style of oil filter removal, it slides down over the top and locks in, and you can actually take the filter off pretty easy that way. Now I'm going to show you what I talked about with the actual oil filter wrench. What you're going to do is you're going to take that oil filter wrench, you'll slide it over top of the oil filter itself, and what it does is it binds. So then when it binds, it makes a positive lock. So then what you do is, this is tightening, so you'll just grab it, and then you'll go up and grab it, and then you'll turn it like that, and so it binds when you add pressure. Now if you want to take the thing off, you want to loosen it, you just flip it over, and then it goes the opposite direction too. It's super easy. And again, you can get these at the auto parts store. Now, when you go to install it, again, when you take the old one off, you want to clean the mating surface up to the engine, to the bottom of the engine. And this seal right here, you don't want to put it on dry. So take and dip your finger in the oil and just run a bead right around here. Get it just, you don't have to saturate it, just get it lightly coated. And then when you screw it on, it will make a better fit. Okay, so now we're going to remove the oil filter, and we're just going to use your standard oil filter wrench. And then this one actually bends, which is kind of nice. So you can just get in there, you hold pressure on it, and then you want to pull pressure. And so if you look, it's taking it off, we're loosening it. So go ahead and just spin the thing off. And see all the oil that's coming out of there? Again, keep that oil pan underneath there. It's going to make a heck of a mess. I do recommend putting down rags also. So go ahead and just unscrew it. And there you go. So now you got all that. So let that drain for a little bit. And again, what you want to do is up in there. There you go. This is what it's going to look like. And go ahead and clean the mating surface that's around here, like here. Just take a nice towel or a rag or something and just wipe that off really good. Because you want to, when you want to put it up there, again, you don't want old oil to be sitting there contaminating. You might have some kind of debris or something to that nature. And so you just want to clean it off. So I'm going to show you the installation now. Okay, now here's another thing too that's very crucial. I just explained it to you. Go ahead and take your oil, your new oil, just dip your finger in it. That's all you need to do. And then you want to just run the oil around this seal right here. And then just get it moist. That's all you need to do. You don't even need it to saturate it. And actually that's more than plenty right there. And now you're ready to seat it back up. So let's get that done. Okay, now that you've cleaned the mating surface there, we can go ahead and screw on your new filter. So let's go ahead and do that. So stick it up here and you screw that on. And make sure that it's the right filter too. What you'll want to do is just take it and just match it up with the old filter and see if that is the identical same. And then what you're going to do is you just bind it up here, lock it, and then you're just going to hand tighten it, and then you're going to just give it a little bit of an extra turn, and that's really all you need. You do not need to really tighten this. Just spin it up till it's hand tight, and then maybe a quarter of a turn. That's all you need. But there you go. Now it's installed. We can put the bottom pan back on, the splash pan, so we can go ahead and do that. And then I'll show you how to fill the your oil back into the crankcase. Okay, now that your splash pan is on and in place, you go ahead and lower your vehicle back down. And the other thing too, when you put your floor jack underneath your vehicle to jack it up, make sure you're on a strong point. Just look underneath there and find something metal that you can jack up on, that you don't want to be, don't put it on your engine. Don't jack from your bottom of your engine. Do not jack from plastic, parts, because it's going to break and it'll damage that. So find something underneath your frame, the frame itself, where it's metal, your A-frames, your anything to that nature. So now the next part, and you're almost done, is you got to remove the oil fill cap. So you want to take that off, and you also want to inspect that too. There's a O-ring that goes around here. Inspect it. I'm going to clean it and put it back on. But the manufacturer will give you the specs, or if you go to AutoZone, it'll show you basically how much oil to put into your engine. So there's a specific amount, 5 quarts, 6 quarts, depending on if you have a car or a truck. So let me get the oil set up, and then I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so now that you're ready to add your oil, go ahead, put your funnel in, and then you're going to take your engine oil and open it up. You're going to dump it in. I just put one in already. Excuse me. And then, but before you put this in, you want to make sure that it is clean inside of here too, because if it's been sitting in your garage for a while and you have, buildup of dust or dirt or anything to that nature, you don't want that going down inside of your motor. So, but again, the other thing too is when you add your oil, the manufacturer has, again, the amount that you need to put into your engine. You also have to account for the oil filter, but your local auto parts store will tell you what it is with the oil filter. So let's just go ahead and keep dumping them in. And the other thing too is you don't want to overfill, and I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. So just go ahead and start dumping it in. And so you want to check your, now your oil is going to be running down inside your motor, so you're going to get a false reading from your dipstick, your oil dipstick. So the best time really to check it is like right in the morning time, before you head out to go to work or whatever. Pull the dipstick, because then the oil has time to settle down to the bottom of your engine. And the other thing too is if you put your oil in and you put it in there, it's not going to go right into your filter, into your oil filter. So what you do need to do is you need to start it up and run it for a little bit. Then the oil will pump up and it actually filters into the filter. So it'll it's going to give you a false reading at first if you just dump your oil in, because then it'll show that it's too high on your dipstick. So now if we go in here and pull your oil dipstick, and they're usually black or yellow, and I've seen different colors, but you find your oil. Okay, so now that you have your oil dipstick out, clean it off. And what you're going to do is, see the hash marks that run here? And let's get a little closer here. And anyways, those hash marks run up and then it stops. So like right here, it stops. So that is your full mark right there. So you want to bring the oil up to the full mark, and that'll give you the full coverage on your motor. Do not exceed that mark at all. And also this right down here at the very bottom where that hole is, that's the lowest point that you want to fill it to. So that's the minimum oil that you can have in your vehicle at any given time to get that coverage. So you want it in between here. I always put it to the full mark because that is what the manufacturer requires. But if it's down in the middle or something, that's totally fine too. But you know, hit that maximum fill mark. And the other thing too is you've got your oil filter to keep in consideration, because that's going to take, you know, the half a quart or a full quart of oil by itself. So let's go ahead and check the oil. Okay, so here's another point too, is as you're dumping your oil into the engine, don't dump it all in at one time, because you want to monitor your level of oil in your engine, because you do not want to go above that hash mark that I showed you. So it's better to dump like 3 to 4 quarts in at one time, and then let it settle to the bottom of your oil pan. And then go ahead, pull the dipstick, wipe it off with a rag, and then put it back in, and then check to see where it's at. Now, here's the other thing too, is you also have to account for that oil filter, like I said before. So the best thing to do is get it to the top of that hash mark, or your full mark is what it is, on your oil dipstick. Get it to the full mark, and then what I would do is I would take the thing and, you know, pull out your funnel, put your top back on. Don't forget that. That's a vital thing. Put that back on. Then what I would do is I would start the engine and let it run for a little while, and shut it off, and then just let that oil drain, because then the oil has a chance to pump up into that oil filter and fill this oil filter up, you know, because it does take, you know, like I said, maybe like a half a quart, depends on the size motor. Then let the oil drain back down, and then you can add in the, you know, add in what you need to fill it to that full mark. So it sounds like a lot. It's not. You only change your oil, you know, once in a while. So it's like, you know, 3,000 to 6,000 miles. Depends on the make of your vehicle. Depends on, you know, the oil that you use also. So if you're using a cheaper oil, you want to change your oil more frequently. But you know, it's right, you know, and your manufacturer will tell you pretty much also when you should change your oil. Good rule of thumb, the older vehicles used to be 3,000 miles, but nowadays they have, you know, more advanced motor oil like this one. They have, you know, full synthetic, which I highly recommend. That's a 100% synthetic oil. It's better for lubrication, better for your seals in your engine. And it really is a great oil. They have semi-synthetics, no oil without synthetics in it. So, but anyways, not hard to do, super easy. Yeah, it takes a little, you know, half an hour to do your oil change. But when you're done with it, you're done, and now you know how to do it for the next time that you need to change your oil. So please give me a thumbs up on this video, like it, you know, subscribe to our channel. We have a ton of videos coming up. We're going to be doing more in depth into actually working on rebuilding motors, you know, getting into transmission work and everything else. So, you know, please follow us, and we do a lot of giveaways also, and hope this video helped. Thank you.